Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's the Ustawi segment where we talk all things leadership, purpose, governance. It's a very exciting segment for me, and today I have a guest. She's not new to Just Angie. She's been here several times before, but I'll let her introduce herself, and then we're going to talk about resource and workforce planning. Karibu me.
Thank you so much, Apostle Angie. It's always great to be back here, and it's an honor and a privilege to be on this space. And today to talk about something I'm really passionate about. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Hi, Just Angie viewers. My name is Kaptuiya. I am a workforce planning practitioner and consultant. I run a management consulting firm in workforce planning called Kotoeia Solutions, and I'm happy to be here.
It's so excited to hear you. You know, you reminded me, I don't know which Unstuck it was that you were on a panel. Which Unstuck was that one? Which year? Because it wasn't last, maybe the year before.
Yeah,
so
was it? Yeah, the year before.
2021?
2021, yeah.
2021,
oh my God,
that's when you were at a panel.
Yes.
And you discussed, your segment was about workforce planning.
Yes.
We're discussing about accessing the future.
Yes.
And it was a very interesting conversation. So, and your passion always comes out. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
So I was one of the people, I'm not, even then they don't know what workforce planning is. I was like, what is workforce? I used to ask, what is workforce planning?
Yeah.
Is it HR? You know, I asked so many questions. So we wanted today to have a conversation about workforce planning. So just first of all, tell us what it is.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is workforce planning?
I think you started by saying resource workforce planning. So workforce planning is really, it is a HR process, but it is a process where an organization determines or estimates its labor demand, and at the same time evaluates its size, number, and supply that will meet this demand that it has defined. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's taking sort of work and matching it to the resource of people?
Yes. So it's looking at, workforce planning is in two segments. So there's a strategic workforce planning element and the operational workforce planning element. So strategic workforce planning looks at the future, looks at the business strategy. So as a business, you decide, every business decides, this is what we want to achieve in the next so long. Most organizations look at a window of 2 to 5 years as their strategic window. Other businesses can take longer, 10 years, 20 years. There are even organizations that do 50 years, depending on the industry. Actually, it is there. That strategic window gives us now the business strategy.
Okay.
So once you have the business strategy, then for you to deliver the business strategy, you need people, the talent, the skills. What does that look like? How many people are we talking about? Do we have them in the business? If we don't have them, then how are we going to source for them? So then you come up with a workforce strategy, and essentially now that workforce strategy is what HR takes to do the recruitment plans, do the what is it called? Talent, what's it called?
Like defining the talent,
training and all that.
And
basically now that's workforce plan or workforce strategy then defines all the other plans that come into place when we come to the operational element. So operational workforce planning then is the window between 1 year to the day of operations, where now we do, sometimes we do recruitment, we do the task allocation, rostering. So now you have the people, and then now you allocate them to deliver the work that you have, to deliver the objectives that you set as a business
in the strategy.
Yes.
Okay, so you work together with making sure that happens.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that not only are you defining roles, are you defining man hours, number of hours, depending on also, I guess, what the business is, yeah?
Yes.
So it will depend, are you now really saying, okay, these are the number of people we need, these are the different roles that we need, this is the level of talent that we need, and then do you also calculate these are the hours they'll be working, so that we calculate everything about who needs to be there?
Including cost as well.
Okay.
So one of the generic definitions of workforce planning is really having the right people, the right skills and the right qualifications in the right locations, right positions, roles, as you talked about, at the right time, because also there's a time element. When do we need them to be here? When do we need them? What kind of contracts are we talking about? And then at the same time, the right cost. So how much then does a business invest in to get the skills and the talents that will deliver on the business strategy?
Okay, so I knew I was going to talk about AI, but now it's coming in because I'm thinking, like now the company, when I was rolling my eyes like for 50 years, I mean, unless you, but they can, I guess they have, what do we call the people? The people who also who see the future, futurists.
Yes.
So I guess you're going to have to, they'd have to plan a lot in, because you'd have to understand what the trends are.
Yes.
But now that we're here talking about workforce planning, how much is AI going to affect all this workforce planning business?
So I really like this conversation about AI and ChatGPT and how.
Oh, but you know ChatGPT, don't even get me started. I love ChatGPT.
I love really it as well.
I love it. The day I typed in, now you see how we're going off script now. We were supposed to be talking about how AI is going to affect us, but
ChatGPT is
it's just amazing. And you know, when like now Instagram says that there are better tools, that I'm like, I cannot even let me stick with my ChatGPT. But I love it. I love it that it helps me do my research when I'm planning something or a teaching. And I love it. Like the first day I wrote first I said, let me test it. Let me see whether this thing is a way about Jesus. Let me see. This is AI. Let's see. It was just. So I actually wrote. I think I asked, what is it? How do you grieve the Holy Spirit? Hey, I was jumping up and down. I was like, hallelujah.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
The other day I asked him, what's the kingdom of God? Hey, wait. Together with scriptures, I was like, this is it. So I research restoration, every topic that I want to, and I just love the way it generates a response.
So
and I'm
quickly,
like,
it brings
wow,
everything together. You don't have to go looking at different pages and then put it. So it actually it simplifies the work for you, which is what technology is supposed to do, which is what AI is supposed to do. I mean, technology is supposed to really help us as in our area of work, to make it easier to automate those processes that have been already defined.
But if we automate processes, people are going to lose jobs, man.
So it's
especially in an African context, I think.
So it's sort of like a double-edged sword, So there's an element where now, and that's why strategic workforce planning is very, very key and very important, especially in this time. Because then you're able to kind of, as you said, have a sort of view of the future, sort of anticipate what is coming. Then you prepare your people, because it's about, it's not about reacting anymore. We need to stop being reactive.
We need to be prepared.
And be prepared. And now by being prepared, then we form that element of agility, being agile in the business.
And adaptable.
Being agile in the business and being adaptable means that, so we are able to identify, these are the skills that are this is how skills are going to change. So how do we then equip our workforce so that they are able to deliver on their work?
But that's one part.
Yes.
One part I'm understanding.
Yes.
To equip the people. Like me, I never knew I would be on ChatGPT. Are you the one who I think it's you. I don't know. Me, like, those things. I'm like, I'm usually technology averse.
Yes.
I join very late in terms of the conversation.
No, you think
so,
but you
I
are.
do.
You're doing so much better.
Yeah, it's like
than
those
most.
ChatGPT people. I don't know. I'm not sure. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, there's an element of preparing the people, but what if the people don't have work, May? Maybe I'm just flogging a dead horse here, but I'm thinking,
no.
Okay, prepare them by they learn technology.
They learn
and embrace
because technology will not run on its own.
The
work will change.
Okay,
so that's the thing. It's not going to be that.
So
we
work
will not
will
have
change.
Yes, what we see as work. So I'll give an example. The other day I was looking to open an account with my existing bank. Not to mention the bank. And what I have been with this bank for a long time, and what I really loved about it is that, so because I'm a technology person, you do everything at the touch of a button. So I don't have to go to the banking hall, I don't have to go talk to somebody, all those things. But I didn't know that I could do this. So I called, I've been given a relationship manager, and I called her. And she explained to me how to just open using my mobile app. And I was like, fantastic. I don't even have to come and see you.
No.
Wonderful. This is what I love. Yeah. And it was amazing because I had asked another bank, two other banks, and I had to go fill forms.
You can't, nobody's filling
go
forms
to the
in
banking
this day
hall.
and age.
Although
like, they do both. I find some of them fill forms, but they still have the technology
yes, they
in
do
process. Yeah.
Yes. So what I love about this bank is that so I asked her, I had a question for her and was like, okay, so when you have automated all these processes, what is it looking like for the workforce?
That's a good question.
Yeah? What is it
even for
like
her as a relationship manager?
Yes.
Yes. I'd like to know.
How did that affect the workforce of this organization? And her answer was really, it really fascinated me, and I was very happy about it because what she said is that they are now able to create sustainability and sustainable ways of reaching the customer. So by giving you a personal relationship manager, they're able to have a better relationship with you. So they're not focusing so much on the things
like opening the bank account. They're focusing on you
as a person. And you see now
that's deep. That's deep.
There are elements now that technology will never replace.
Yes, technology cannot connect with me. We cannot connect. There's no relationship there.
So you see now these are the elements now we need to start understanding and embracing that technology is not coming to really replace our work. It's just changing how work is done. And so for us is to just be ready for it. Of course, there are lots of, there'll be investments that have to go into it, to invest in technology, invest in the people, train and all that. But now you get a higher level of engaging with your client, with your customer, and also just anticipate their needs and be able to meet them, to meet their needs better. So I think technology is a good thing.
It definitely is, but I think, me, I'm there. I'm old school, new school, I'm Muko, trying. I'm not as new school as you guys, but I'm not too old school. But even there's a certain business that I've been talking to for a long time around my neighborhood. And the other day, I kept telling, I'd go into the place and I'd say, you guys need to get in with technology, you know, like these days, deliveries, people are, you can just order something online and it comes quickly to your door. You should have seen the first days when we tried those things. We're like, wacha tuone kama inakuja. When it arrived, we're like, oh wow, so I don't even have to leave my house. But they wouldn't. So I'm finding that businesses that don't embrace technology are closing down. So the other day I went and saw a notice there and they said we're shut, and it was after like, I don't know, odd 50 years. I was like, oh my God. And all because they didn't embrace technology.
So and that's of Kodak and
Kodak, those brands.
The brands
so they didn't have workforce planners because they didn't have futurists, because somebody should have told them the trend is changing. Who could imagine that we'll take photos on our phone? But now, you see now why I also miss Kodak, because we used to have printed photographs in albums. All the photographs now, they're digital. So we rarely print a photo. But that those companies, so the world is changing. And I think at that time, the world was changing, but not even as rapidly as it's changing today.
Now,
today, it is too much.
So fast, and now even with the fast changes, there's higher levels of complexity, especially like in terms of work. So technology even comes to take away these as we said, those things that we're doing, the elements of operations, let me call it.
But let me tell you a funny story.
Yes.
I was once in an airport. I was like, I cannot believe it. Imagine I had money and I didn't eat. I didn't eat because there was a contraption in front of me. I was like, honestly, as I'm complaining, I'm hungry. And it's saying, I can't. And the lady's there and I'm telling her, I want to order through you. She's like, no, you have to order through this contraption thing. Do you know, I couldn't do it.
Wow.
And then another day I went to the Althea on another trip and she was just it's after the food came. I said, do you know, I didn't eat last night because I'm looking at this thing and I don't know how to engage it. There should be a chat here, saying what to do. But even travel, travel, when I traveled, remember now before all these COVID tests and all that, now before the vaccine was sufficient that you have a vaccination certificate, I said, it's hard to travel. I said, how will my mom travel with all this drama? She has to travel with somebody because you have to key in this, so you key in the other. So it's it's there, it's good, but it can be very annoying.
I think it's Okay, so there are so many memes on this IG
Technology
platforms,
things.
technology, social media, manenos. I think different generations, of course, have different challenges when it
We
comes
have
to
different challenges.
engaging.
I even almost slept outside the hotel. If we're not doing nothing, we'd have slept outside. Went for her graduation. Me, her mom, 3 generations. So me and her. Do you know? So we're waiting to be checked in. Hiya. There was a
It's
side thing on the road.
self-service.
I promise you would have slept there.
Yeah.
There's nothing that would have made us know
Right?
what to do.
Really?
Self-check-in.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't even put our hands, wrap our heads around it. Now I think I'm better prepared.
Yeah.
I would maybe expect it,
Yeah.
but this technology anyway. Back
Yeah.
to our workforce planning.
So in fact, the other day, actually today morning, I was having a conversation with my sister, and she was telling me how McDonald's have opened a full self-service outlets.
No.
So
Who's gonna
there's
cook
no,
the food?
and I guess it's the front side. I haven't really researched
Complete
into it.
self-serve.
But it reminded me. I don't know if you've been to the Westgate Carrefour. They have started.
They started the self-serve
putting up
counters.
The self-service counters, and again, it's because I come back to people and I thought to myself, all these tellers, their jobs are going to be essentially replaced by the machines.
So what are they gonna do?
So it's essentially now
get
there's
new
this
skills
element
and move
of,
up.
You see, if an organization like, for instance, in this particular example, if Carrefour have done their strategic workforce planning, then they're able to know how to redistribute and redeploy their staff.
Are you sure you're not just saying the politically correct thing about redeploy?
No, that is,
because some people are going to lose their jobs.
Of course, there's that element that people can lose their jobs. But the responsible thing to do as an organization, because there's a responsibility as to the people as an organization, is to look ahead. Because if you're always looking here, then you always be caught off guard.
You must look ahead.
We'll have those elements of restructuring that is actually more costly than retaining the staff and retraining them and putting them to work somewhere else.
So think about it before, incorporate it before, and then begin now the process of turning it around for them.
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking, like for the tellers, who now there's all these self-checkouts, is it that they need to get new skills then?
Possibly they need to get new skills.
Can get new jobs?
Or new jobs. They could even go to customer care. Remember that element of you can never replace the interaction between
human interaction completely.
So you have to find either, and even with even as the technology has come in, that technology has to be supported by a person, by people somewhere. Okay. So it's just that they're not at the front,
but somebody behind the scenes is controlling the conversation or the action that's taking place.
Definitely.
But that's why I love Africa. Because Africa, you have to have the human interaction.
Yes.
You have to have somebody help you carry your bags. You have to go pick stories.
Yes.
Hey, this thing, it's very cold. Because I think also, and I don't know how we got there, but they live in such a cold society. Then on top of that, you have to check yourself into the hotel. You have to carry your own. Who do you talk to? We need to talk to people along the way. We cannot talk to machines.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even thinking like in a supermarket situation, you can even have someone who helps you shop. Like especially for the older people or things like that. Yeah, because that is not there. It's not present as it is right now. They don't have enough stuff to do that. But that personalized
so
service.
they can find other ways to incorporate the stuff. Okay, you've convinced me a bit. I'm like, hey, this AI is going to finish us. But that's good. I'm grateful.
So it's for me, I really insist on that element of looking forward, the strategy, bringing in the workforce strategy by looking at the business strategy. But you can't do that if you're always focused on the operational workforce planning. So today, 2 months from now or 1 year from now.
You've got to think in the future.
Think ahead.
And what else is happening? What other new technology is coming?
Yes.
What are the trends that are going to be emerging so that you're caught up and you're ready when you get there? I like that.
Exactly,
I like that.
Yeah.
And so when you entered into the workforce planning space, what are some of the challenges that you faced? It's a Kenyan context, Kenyan organization, although I know you belong to global, are they global associations, global workforce planners? Which I was quite amazed that you are. I mean, that's good that you're also having conversations at a global level. So, but just take me through that as well.
So, I mean, okay, I've done this for the past now 12 years. And how I got into it was not even, it was not planned. I didn't even know. I mean, and that's the story.
It's God's plan.
It wasn't even, it's God's plan for sure, because it's my area of purpose. And I didn't know this.
I know, you flourish in it and thrive, and you're so
and I love
happy.
it. So it's the same story for most workforce planners, workforce planning practitioners across the world, that most people who found themselves in this space by virtue of like just organically, because it's not, you find that most people do not come from a HR background. You find actually, because I'm from an aviation background, and I find that in this space, a lot of people come from the military background, which is those are the organizations
that plan their work
20, 50 years to come.
Wow.
Yes. And so there's a connection between, you know, the military and aviation, because they borrow aviation, commercial aviation transport borrows heavily from the military.
Oh.
Yes. So even when you look at, so we have psychologists, people who have done psychology, people who've done, I don't know, very, very few people have come from a HR background. So it's really just, so I started off doing resource planning. Resource planning was planning for the people and the equipment. But now I have moved to just planning for people and looking at what does that look like in terms of, and for me, I look mostly on the strategic element, because the strategy now then determines and informs the operational element. So when we look at the Kenyan context, there's a report that came out this year from MASA, and it was interesting. I was surprised. I must say, I was surprised to see that Africa was taking strategic workforce planning very seriously.
Thank you, Africa, please do.
It was actually at the top of all the other HR priorities. Yes.
What?
For Africa only.
Well done.
Right? Well, other aspects, other areas of the continent, they're looking at different elements. But you see, one of the things that, as I keep coming back to this, that strategic workforce planning really determines and defines all these other things like employee retention, employee satisfaction, because when you plan ahead, then you're able to address all these other issues.
Everyone will be happy.
Everyone will be happy. So when you look at one of the biggest challenges that I face, or that we face even in this space, is the fact that there's this report, and then now when you come to the
Vitu kwa ground.
Especially for smaller organizations, there's a disconnect in terms of how to actually do it. So there was also some statistics that 46% of management leadership identify strategic workforce planning as a key priority. However, only 13% are able to do it effectively.
Actually, okay.
So there's that lack of, I guess, maybe the skills or the frameworks or the understanding of how to do
actually do planning. So I recognize that it's something I need,
yes,
but I'm not very sure how I can execute it.
Yes, and do it well, do it effectively. So because we have been doing it, people are planning, people have people plans, but there's a way to do it that is going to deliver for you a more effective outcome, and which is now the frameworks that are emerging, are coming out. As I said, it's also something that is not very common. It hasn't been very common. It has been labeled all manner of names, but now it's starting to stand out strongly and separately outside of HR. But still, some organizations still have it embedded within the HR processes. So the biggest challenge, as I was saying, is that there's that first you find that some organizations don't even have like a defined business strategy
I would say that's a problem, because I think many people don't have a business strategy.
Yeah.
Others maybe the way we do sometimes in Africa they think it's a priority, but they don't put money to the priority.
Exactly.
Then maybe they try to do it internally,
Yes,
rather than getting an expert like you to get it done for them. Yes, we're going to put May's contacts on the screen so that you can at least have a conversation with her. You know, call her, have a conversation, and see whether this is something that you can incorporate. Because I think now I'm thinking the problem with the execution is that we think we can do it ourselves, you know, instead of just getting somebody to give us an expert opinion.
And to be honest, it's a very complex process, because what it does is that it's like a pivot between 4 key areas of the business, which is operations, finance, HR, and strategy or leadership. So to have a view of all those elements is usually it's usually not unless you have that someone who can do that, then you'll just be doing fragmented planning, and not having a cohesive plan that will deliver on what you want to achieve. So that's where now it's not effectively planned.
Okay. And the other global people that you're with, what are some of the stories they share? Is it more accepted where they live?
Yes. I mean, so the institute that you're talking about is the Workforce Planning Institute, which is more like the Association for Workforce Planners. It is based in Melbourne. So what we do is I sit on a committee that has different representations across the globe. So from the US, from Canada, from the UK, from Middle East, and from Australia, representing the South Pacific. So what I find interesting in our conversations is the challenges that different workers face across the globe. So, and of course, now what that looks like in terms of workforce planning is also very different. So I would say that as much as, like, for instance, I think Australia is really ahead in terms of embracing workforce planning or strategic workforce planning. And then I would say maybe the UK and the US are also, catching on very fast. There are still many other areas of the world that, and even big corporations. Like we have one of the members. She works for one of the big organizations, and they're still trying to put it in place. They're still trying to move from the operational into looking into the strategic, because the strategic really addresses even the operational needs ahead of time. So it's I would say we're not so badly off. We just need to embrace it more and do it, because it's a very
effective. Is the word
effective? It will give great gains. And then like it's just like having that business strategy. So now you have a strategy for your business, have a strategy for your people, because your people are the biggest assets, biggest resource, biggest asset for most organizations. So having a good plan for your people is going to get you the desired outcomes that you're looking for.
I think for me, as we bring it to a close, first of all, I don't know, when you said about people also, I mean, it will help the workforce to see what skills are required, I think.
Yes.
And then prepare also the workforce, because the workforce can look and see, I mean, if you communicate it to them, these are the roles that are going to be required in the future. And therefore then you can prepare for those roles. You can study for those roles, because Kwanza Kenyans, we love to study. So if you just show us these are the kind of jobs, these are the kind of skills that are going to be required in the future, then we'll prepare for them. So I think in that way, that's a win as well. But I think also when people, it will catch on, the more people that do it, engage and enjoy the success, then they will more people will engage. But I'm really grateful that you took that step, and I just know the way you come alive and awake whenever you're doing this your workforce planning stories. So I don't know what your parting shots or closing statements will be, or what you'd like us to know.
I think post-pandemic, workforce planning has become very very key, and so it should be of value to any organization to start, just thinking about it, start embracing that, take that step. Of course, you can define what it looks like for your own organization and see the benefits that then it brings to you. At the same time, not just looking at the organization, it's talked about the people. The worker has also changed post-pandemic. So, they're making different decisions now. Their priorities around work are different. The workplace has changed. We now have work from home. There's so much that has changed.
I can't believe that we used to be on the road 5 days.
I know.
Honestly, I cannot imagine we used to be on the road in traffic. 5 days. Now people are going to work 2 days, 1 day. Some are completely from home.
And it's
home.
Working. Yes, it is. And who would have thought? Who would have said that it
thought.
could have done this?
No one.
Yeah, but so now with all these changes, it's important. It now becomes very important to be very intentional about planning for your people.
So I'm thinking, actually, when you speak that, I'm sensing it's good to be intentional about planning about the people, but I think what we're doing is intentionally managing change.
Yes.
Because change is happening. It's happening rapidly. It's
yes.
happening at a speed you're like, honest to God,
Absolutely.
Very serious.
I like that.
So it's rapidly changing. So we have to manage the change
intentionally
if we're going to remain relevant.
Absolutely, I agree. Absolutely. I couldn't even add anything to that.
I'm so grateful. God has given us wisdom, but I'm happier. So that's what it means. That we really must plan. So the organizations have to plan, but I'm also thinking now as if the people have to plan. What are the skills that are going to be required in the future?
Yes.
And get ready for them, please. You cannot bury your head in the sand. The world has moved. It is moving. I don't even know at which rate. So it's important for us to get ready. I think it's time to prepare yourself for the world that is coming.
Prepare yourself for the world. Yes.
And I like even something, I don't know why I just thought about Bishop T.D. Jakes, but when he says even preparing our children, that's another one, because Kenyans, we love our children. Okay, prepare your children for the world that's coming. And he's always saying that we prepare our children for our world. But it's not our world.
Yes.
Their world is so different from our world.
Absolutely.
I was in a training this weekend. We were throwing shoes at the trainer, but then she's trying to tell us we cannot say in our time. Or like, we have to say in our time. In our time. So this is how we're training our children. We tell our children in our time.
Yes.
Well, that time is long gone. That's what they're trying to say. You're saying the time is long gone. There's no more in your time. There's another time that is coming, and that's the time we need to prepare for. So even our children, we need to prepare them for their world.
Yes, absolutely.
Not our world.
Yeah. Even as you said that, you reminded me of a quote that I like, that talks about, planning, and it says, failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah. So if we don't prepare,
then we're going to fail.
Well, we hope not.
We hope not. We hope not. We hope not, May. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
12 years. I love the passion. Let me tell you, talk to this child. She hasn't paid me to tell you that, but she really knows what she's talking about. And the passion is contagious. It's everything. I just love the way that you have passion and you pursue it with passion, and that you're doing something that's going to impact our world. I just love it so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you for being an exemplary leader.
Thank you. Thank you, Apostle Angie.
May you continue doing so.
Thank you. Thank
Amen.
you. Amen.
Amen. God bless you guys. Mumesikia. Workforce planning, resource planning, planning
Yeah.
for the future. The world is changing and we need to change.